Sunshine, Chapter 6. Set Me Free. I'd lit Lucky Reds and passed them around the group. Thanks, ma'am. I nodded, and was it just me, or was Andy starting to calm down? Gordon seemed to notice as well. Andy, it seems you're starting to mellow out a bit. He chuckled. Well, after the cult, I got my fair share of death and bloodshed. Too much, actually. Gordon nodded, but I still had questions. How can you have too much killing? No offense. Andy looked at me with a wistful look in his eyes. Seb, you'd never believe it, but before the accident I was a pacifist. Hell, I still want to be, but this world demands death and killers. I moved over to sit next to him and held his hands. What would help you to feel a bit at peace? Whatever you need, I can try and give. He smiled at me. Just you being you helps in more ways than you can ever imagine. That wasn't an answer, and I looked sternly into his eyes, and I could tell there was something he was hiding. He averted his gaze. What are you hiding, Andy? He squirmed a bit. Nothing. I let go of his hands, and he panicked a bit. Okay, fine. I don't know, truthfully. Gordon pushed himself up. Well, I'm going to take a nap. Come on, Sparky. Let's go to sleep. Andy looked longingly at Gordon, and he smiled devilishly back at us. Aha! It was a ploy to leave us alone. Gordon and Sparky walked back into the train, leaving both Andy and I alone. Please don't hide anymore, Andy. You know I care for you, despite all your flaws, as you do for me as well. He choked back tears, and I simply squeezed his hands when it was enough to break the dam. He just fell into my shoulder, sobbing uncontrollably. I just held him for what felt like an eternity. It's okay, Andy. I've got you. I've got you. He cried more than I knew was even possible. He eventually wiped his eyes, which were bloodshot and tired. I know, Seb, and that scares me. I tilted my head. Why? He sniffled and wiped his face with his shirt. Just because. I stood my ground and sighed, which seemed to trigger something in him. I'm afraid of living. I'm truly terrified. I've been running for so long that stopping causes all my evil deeds to catch up with me. I nodded as I got that. But what you're mistaking is that by running, that's a life worthy of you. You're already dead and afraid to truly live. He nodded slowly. That I know, but how do I find peace? He wasn't going to like the answer. By acknowledging what you've done. The good and the bad. And I know you feel bad outweighs the good, but you're wrong. He started to shake and get very anxious. I can't do it, Seb. I just can't. I have to do something else. He started to stand, and I took out my gun and forced him to sit. This is loaded, so please don't. Just sit and see what happens. I'll be right here with you. He sat back down and looked scared. He locked hands with me, and we just sat there in silence. I could see the terror in his eyes, but after a while it started to turn into what looked like regret. Then eventually it looked as if it were now longing. How does it feel? He nervously chuckled. It doesn't kill me, even though it hurts. I smiled and kissed his cheek, which caused him to blush deeply. What was that for? I smiled. Consider it a reward for doing the right thing. He felt his face where I had planted the kiss. Damn it, I wish I was healed enough for us to be together, fully, I mean. I nodded as I felt that as well. As much as I want to give in and do that, you're not ready, truthfully. He teared up. I know. Andy's face fell and he looked at the ground. I could sense something was wrong. Andy, what is it? His eyes slowly rose to meet mine. I think I was sexually abused as well, but I can't tell for sure. I was shocked. My God, I'm so sorry to hear that, Andy. He tried to smile, but couldn't. I think it was my first boyfriend at a party when I turned 19. I think he did something I didn't want to do. I knew exactly what he was saying. What brought this memory up? Do you know? If not, it's okay. He looked at me. Our love. I'm not blaming you at all. It's just been a thought that I've had since we told each other how we felt. And sitting here with it made it come to the forefront of my mind. How could he do that? I squeezed his hands again. I truthfully don't know, but the courage it took to say that out loud is immense. I want you to give yourself some credit. He smiled weakly and picked up my hand and kissed it. Thank you, Seb, for everything. I held him close and whispered something into his ear. I'm fighting so hard to not make any moves right now because that would be wrong on so many levels. But you opening up and healing is really making me attracted to you. We both blushed. Well, it would be. I wouldn't mind. I smiled. Me neither, but now is not the time. You're too vulnerable, and I'd be taking advantage of you if I were to make a move. He sadly smiled. Yeah, you're right. Now I have more than just one reason to heal, for me as well as for us. We hugged, and the rain seemed to be clearing up. We put out the fire and walked back to the train, and to our surprise, Gordon and Sparky were both passed out on the couch. Ha! So he wasn't lying. Andy chuckled, and they got the train going again. Sacramento, here we come. I had a joint lit as I effortlessly piloted the train down the tracks. We were running a bit low on supplies, so we'd have to do a supply run. We then passed a green road sign. Las Vegas, 5 miles ahead. Oh dear lord. Guys, we're coming up on Vegas. Should we keep going or stop somewhere? Andy looked at his phone and rushed into the control room and slammed on the brakes suddenly. I fell forward, but Andy caught me. What the hell is that for, Andy? He turned the screen around to me, and it was an Atmos stronghold. Gordon walked in and told us to find a tunnel to park the train in. We backed the train up into a tunnel as Andy did more research into Vegas. We need to be very careful, as this is their main base of operations. Sure, they have stations in other countries, but this is their main hub. This is our chance to obliterate them, but if we fuck up, we're done. I started to have second thoughts. I think we should find another way to go. We can't possibly win here. Gordon looked at me with fierce resolve in his eyes. Seb, we need to do this, and this is the only chance we have. There's no going back, only forward. I swallowed nervously, but nodded anyway. Okay, so what's the plan then? Andy looked at me as I asked a question. The EMP grenade. But to cripple the entire base, we need to find the heart of the base, which means stealth. This mission means we have to go inside Atmos.